Hey, welcome to Hooper's Radar. In today's video, I'll be going over 5 takes that were commented on my recent Twitter post. Regarding having your takes reviewed on my videos, I will be putting a Twitter post before the hot take video comes out, and if your take is commented early enough before others, your take will make it onto the video. The next hot takes video already has all 5 of 5 takes filled up, so if you want to be on episode 3, comment on the next NBA hot takes Twitter post I make as soon as I post it. Spots fill up quick as you can see, so stay updated with me on Twitter at Hooper's Radar. I'll leave my Twitter link in the description. I also want to thank you guys for the amazing support on the channel lately as I hit 34 subscribers, breaking the 30 milestone, and the attention that my next video has gotten has been amazing. I sincerely cannot thank you guys enough. So with that all said, let's bring the intro. So to begin with our first take, Jay from Twitter says, fully healthy Blazers are better than Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Mavs in a series. So I gotta say, I like this take. I'm a Blazers fan myself, and I got a lot of hope in the Blazers upcoming season because they're looking pretty good, although everybody keeps sleeping on them. I have to say, the Blazers are the better team than the Mavericks this year, and I do have them in a series. Although they have the better player in Luka Doncic on the Mavericks are looking a little weaker than other years, losing Jalen Brunson, probably the only other ball handler they have besides Luka that can hold up the offense. Spencer Dinwiddie might be able to do that, but he's just not Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's a much better player, but we'll see this season. The Blazers look better defensively, to be honest. They have Jeremy Grant, Gary Payton Jr., Josh Hart, Nasir Little, and then, Dame and Anthony are not defensive guards, but they provide the elite offense. So I just have to say that the Blazers are going to be better than the Mavericks this year unless Luka has a crazy series. This Mavs team really depends a lot on Luka, and that's where I really have in this take the right where the Blazers are probably better than the Mavericks this year. It's no slander to the Mavs. They're just not. Without Luka having a 50-point, two 50-point games during that playoff series, I just don't see how the Mavericks are better than the Blazers in a playoff series. I have the Blazers over the Mavericks. Luka just doesn't have help. He hasn't had help in a while. Jalen Brunson was the only small amount of help he had, and maybe a couple of stints from Porzingis. But that's basically about it. Luka has no help, and it's going to take a lot of carrying if the Mavs want to get past the Blazers in a playoff series. So to move on, he also said the Blazers are better than the Pelicans in the series. I gotta say, I think the Pelicans are honestly better just because they showed a lot of promise last year against the Suns, taking the Suns to 6 games without Zion Williamson. And we all know when Zion Williamson is healthy, he is a beast and potentially an MVP candidate. Zion Williamson averaged 27 points per game when he was last healthy. And this Pelicans team took the Suns to 6 with Brandon Ingram going off and an inconsistent CJ McCollum. Remember that. And then on top of that, the Pelicans have a really good defense. Jose Alvarado, super scrappy guard. Herb Jones, pretty athletic, long forward who can lock up. We all saw that in that playoff series. And they took the Suns to 6 games. No Zion. I'll say it again. No Zion. This Pelicans team is looking super bright, has a good mix of defense. Jonas Valanciunas at center, who's super underrated. What does this team not have? They're bigger. They're more athletic than the Blazers for sure. They rebound better than the Blazers for sure. They have a better defense. All of the Blazers are looking pretty solid on defense this season. They seem to have a better defense than the Blazers. I like Jeremy Grant. I like Gary Payton. I like Nasir. I like Josh Hart. But the Pelicans look like the better, more athletic, bigger defensive team. And that's why I just have the Pelicans over them. And they're much younger as well. And then to go on to the last team that Jay said the Blazers are better than the series. The Grizzlies. Although, the Blazers and Grizzlies have some solid history in the play-in where the Blazers have beaten the Grizzlies before. That was a little rivalry for a while. I have to say, the Blazers are no longer better than the Grizzlies. No more CJ to clutch up anymore with Dame and that. All the Blazers got Jeremy Grant, Gary Payton, the new good additions that I like. The Grizzlies got a lot better with basically the same players. All those players developed even better, got much better. Ja Morant had a MVP caliber season, let's say. He wasn't the MVP this season, but he had an MVP caliber season. man absolutely became a different breed this season. He finally took the next step. This team, what were the Grizzlies, a 2 seed? This team was amazing this season. Nearly matched up with the Warriors. Took the Warriors to 6 games with an unhealthy jaw. They have Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane. They still have that really good guard, that really good backup guard. If someone could tell me his name, I might have forgotten his name at the moment. They have everything. They have Steve Adams. They're looking really good. They still have Dylan Brooks. This is a much deeper team than the Blazers, like way much deeper. They also have very good defense. You know, I don't see the Blazers. The Blazers do have the better player in Dame, and just like I said, the case with the Mavericks, with Luka having to carry. If Dame and the Blazers want to beat the Grizzlies in a playoff series, even though Jay says the Blazers are better than the Grizzlies in a playoff series, Dame is going to have at least 2 50-point games. Dame is going to have to carry pretty hard because this Grizzlies team is no joke. Took the finals champs to 6 games. So remember that. And the Grizzlies are a much deeper team and much younger, you know, and way more athletic. Way more athletic. You're talking Jaren Jackson Jr., you're talking John Morant. Way more athletic, way better rebounding too. I'm pretty sure they were one of the highest ranking rebounding teams this season, and they have Steve Adams there at center to pick up those rebounds. He's strictly there for rebounds. And then Jaren Jackson's defensive beast as well. You know, this Grizzlies team is so deep. They've gotten so much better over such a short amount of time. And although I have a lot of trust in the Blazers being better this season, and of course, I say this because anything is always possible in the playoffs. We've seen it happen. The Blazers could upset the 2 teams that I said they're not better than in a playoff series, which is the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. But anything could happen. The Blazers could end up beating them in the playoff series. One team I do have for sure they're better than is the Mavericks. The Mavericks are too dependent on Luka, and Luka has to carry too hard. So yeah, that's my take on Jay's take, saying that the fully healthy Blazers are better than the Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Mavs in a series. I think it's a great take. I love the Blazers. You know, let me know what you guys think on my take. On to the next one. So for the second take, T says, I don't think the Wolves will make the playoffs after having the big 3 core in 2020. They didn't make the playoffs, but when they acquired Pat Beverly, he clearly changed their culture and they made it. Now with Gobert, I don't see how they make it with the West being better too. So basically what T is saying is that because Patrick Beverly is no longer on this team and has now been replaced by Rudy Gobert in that big blockbuster trade where the Timberwolves gave up all these players to the Jazz in return for Rudy Gobert, they won't make the playoffs. And that because the Timberwolves didn't make the playoffs in 2020 with the big 3 of Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl-Anthony Towns, they won't make it this time because they lost past Patrick Beverly, who helped them get there, and Rudy Gobert just isn't a big difference. So I gotta say, I like this take. I think it's pretty bold, and of course I appreciate your contribution in joining this take and posting this take. So first thing I gotta say is, Rudy Gobert, we all know he might not be the best playoff performer, but man, this guy elevates your defense in the regular season, and that's all you need in order to make the postseason. All you need to do is have a good regular season. You know, Rudy Gobert is not going to have the biggest contribution in the playoffs because on none of the teams he's ever had to. He's never been that great in the playoffs. But in the regular season, Rudy Gobert elevates your defense, and we've seen that with the Jazz. The Jazz have been an elite and solid defense all the years that Rudy Gobert has been there, and he elevates your defense in the regular season with his really good rebounding and elite rim protection. And he's not bad on the perimeter. I don't know the conception that he's really bad on the perimeter. He's not bad on the perimeter. I think he had a game-winning block, you know, moving his feet around. Rudy Gobert is a pretty good defender. Not the best perimeter, obviously, but he's solid on there. He's a really good rim protector. And the concept that the Timberwolves will not make the playoffs this time around just because the big 3 didn't do it in 2020 and they took Patrick Beverly is wrong. Patrick Beverly did have good contributions to that Timberwolves team this year making the playoffs, but Patrick Beverly is not an all-star. Patrick Beverly is not an elite rim protector. Patrick Beverly will not give you 15 points and 12 or 13 rebounds and average 2 blocks a game. Patrick Beverly is not that type of player, and Patrick Beverly doesn't make your defense elite in the regular season and hasn't contributed to any really high seeded teams as big as Rudy Gobert has. Rudy Gobert kept the Jazz. Rudy Gobert was on the Jazz the year that they were a 1 seed. Rudy Gobert has been there when they were elite defensively. So Rudy Gobert's going to do that for the T-Wolves this year. The question is, how good will he be in the playoffs? Truly, nobody knows. He's yet to really be the same guy in the regular season that he is in the playoffs. But he will definitely elevate this Timberwolves team, and they will be a really good team, and they will make the playoffs probably as a fifth. I have them as a fifth, maybe fourth, but I have them as like a fifth, sixth seed type of team. The West is just looking really stacked this year, man. It's crazy. But Rudy Gobert definitely does elevate you in the regular season, and I like this take, but saying that Timberwolves is not making the playoffs at all is crazy. Rudy Gobert is a really good regular season player and elevates you in the regular season, and that's all you need, a really good regular season to make the playoffs. So thank you for the take. I gotta say the Wolves are making the playoffs. On to the next one. So for our third take, Johnny says, a healthy Magic team will guarantee at minimum a playing spot. So I gotta say, the Magic haven't always been the best team and have always been a sort of very weird team going back to the Penny Hardaway, Shaq days, Dwight Howard days. The Orlando Magic have never been an elite team at all, small finals appearances and all that. But for once I gotta say, although they're probably going to be another play-in team this season, I like this take. I do definitely think they will be a play-in team this season once again, or at least be in contention for that play-in spot, because they didn't really make it at all last year, and the year before when they had the Vucevic, Aaron Gordon experiment, they were a very minimal playoff team that got beat in the first round. But this year they're looking pretty good. They have a rookie that's coming off a great season in Franz Wagner. They still have Bobo. Well, they got Bobo now. They have first draft pick of this year, Paolo Banchero, who I think is going to be an absolute star in this league. They still have Mo Bamba. Hopefully Jonathan Isaac comes back. We know he's all an elite defender, amazing defender. They still have Jalen Suggs, who had a very up and down rookie season, didn't live up to it, but I think he's going to have a bounce back year for sure. Markelle Fultz, who finally came back off that injury. Cole Anthony, who has shown great scoring ability. They got the other Wagner brother, who isn't anything crazy. Wendell Carter Jr., who showed a very promising season this last time, posting a double-double as I believe he played center for them. They still have RJ Hampton, Gary Harris. They have an underrated guard who I personally liked coming out of Michigan, and he played at Montverde, Caleb Houston. So I think this Magic team is definitely going to come in at that playing spot, just like Johnny said, especially if they stay healthy. This is a team with a lot of young talent, and their competition to make a playing spot isn't the craziest amount. They're still in that mix with the Detroit Pistons, Indiana Pacers, Washington Wizards, and New York Knicks, because every other team in the East has to make the playoffs. I think the only team that maybe falls down to play-in is maybe the Hornets, but every other team is set. The Cavaliers are set, the Hawks are set, the Nets are set, the Bulls are set, Sixers, Bucks, Celtics, Heat. Hornets are the only team that could fall maybe in that play-in group with the Knicks, Wizards, Pacers, and Pistons and Magic. But I think the Magic are going to be a play-in team this season for sure, or at least contend for it, because the East is also looking pretty good this year, just like the West. But they're looking good. The Magic are looking great. They got their guy in Paolo Banchero. They're looking for another step-up season, an even better season from Franz Wagner, a self-improving season, making up season, one to back the downs that happened last season from Jalen Suggs. He should be having a bounce-back season this year. Markelle will be back. Cole Anthony will probably put up either the same numbers or hopefully step it up, which would be big for this team. And the Orlando Magic have always been a really solid defensive team. They've just been a lackluster offensive team. But I have trust in this Magic team. I think they will definitely be circulating right around that Magic spot, and they will be somewhat competitive this year compared to other years. But that's my take. I appreciate you, Johnny, for this take. I like it. I think the Magic will make the play-in personally. On to the next. So for this next take, my guy MJF says, the Rockets are more likely to make the playoffs than the Warriors are to return to the finals. So this is a very hot take. We obviously know the Warriors just came off a very cool and very hard-earned, hard-worked finals run, where Stephen Curry finally got his, what felt like in a while, what took forever. He finally got his Finals MVP and added to his already top 10 case all time. You know, that's a debate for another day. I'm not going to say what I personally think about Curry being in top 10 all time, but he's added a lot to his case for sure. And for the Rockets, I think it is honestly more likely for the Rockets to make it to the playoffs this season. The Warriors are going to make it to the finals because the West is just looking super stacked. And the Warriors, yes, they did come with a finals run in the West, but let's be honest, the Lakers were injured. Westbrook didn't do too great. AD was nowhere to be found. Again, injuries. Injuries play a lot to do with these last two seasons, to be honest, even including the bubble season. But the Rockets, I do think they are more likely to make the playoffs than the Warriors are to make the finals because the West is looking real good this year. You know, the Suns are coming back. The Mavericks are obviously coming back. The Blazers are looking to be in the playoffs this season. Last year was a one-time thing, I promise you, as a Blazers fan. Last year was a one-time thing. The Blazers had one of the longest active playoff streaks up until last season where we tanked because Damian Lillard got injured. So the Blazers will be back. The Nuggets should be back healthy with Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. That is a sleeper dark horse team, and they have the two-time back-to-back MVP on that. Nuggets, Mavericks, Blazers, Lakers are also coming back with some revenge. There's no way they're gonna let them miss the playoffs again, especially LeBron. That would be terrible for LeBron's legacy to miss the playoffs once again. I'm telling you, man, West is looking competitive, and I just feel like I'm forgetting some teams. The Pelicans, how could I possibly forget them? The Pelicans are also in that mix too. But the Rockets are looking really tough. They got their guy Jabari Smith Jr., top 3 pick, obviously. They got Jalen Green coming back for blood. Jalen Green looked like an absolute beast in his rookie year. Yes, it was a very up and down rookie year, but towards the end, my man was going off. 40% from 3, averaging like 20 plus points. You got Kevin Porter Jr. coming back. We know he's a bucket for sure. You got Alperen Sengun, you know, very versatile big. He's probably going to play center for them. Jabari will probably be a power forward. You know, Eric Gordon is a vet that doesn't belong on this team, but he definitely provides good scoring, whether he's off the bench or not, and perimeter shooting. You got Josh Christopher, another underrated bucket. There's a lot of buckets on this team, to be honest. They picked up Ty Washington Jr., great guard out of Kentucky. Hopefully he has some role on this team because this is a very guard-heavy team. Kenyon Martin Jr., very athletic. And, you know, the rest of the players are nothing crazy, except I'd say for Wendell Moore, who's coming out of Duke. He's also a very great player. And Garrison Matthews was a knockdown shooter. And then, of course, I could not forget. I almost forgot him, but Jay Sean Tate, former All-Rookie team. He's a great forward, athletic as well. And then Tari Eason, who looked pretty good in the Summer League. So, man, after all the players I really just named on this Rockets team, there's no way this Rockets team does not make the playoffs, or at least the play-in. You know, I hope this take maybe includes the play-in, although MJF did say the playoffs. But the competition for this, you know, for the play-in doesn't look too much crazy. You know, the playoffs, it's going to be hard to get in there. But I think the Rockets might be able to push it. The competition isn't anything crazy. The Jazz are no longer a playoff team. Sorry to whoever is Colin Sexton fans. You know what I mean? Colin Sexton's great, but the Jazz are not great anymore. Donovan's gone, Rudy's gone. That's it. I don't care if Mike Conley and Bogdanovich are still there. They're not a playoff team anymore. Basically, the Rockets' competition to make the play-in at least is the Thunder, who Chet Holmgren went down, so that's a big loss. The Kings, the Jazz, and the Spurs, who are arguably, in my opinion, the worst team in the NBA right now. The Spurs have basically nobody outside of Jakob Poeltl and Keldon Johnson. They have nobody outside out of those two guys. So the Rockets are looking good. You know, I think the Rockets are honestly better than the Thunder this season, or at least as good as the Thunder, even without Chet Holmgren. The Lakers might be in the mix for the play-in or playoff. And God forbid, yes, I'm a Blazers fan, but hopefully the Blazers do not fall anywhere near the 7 through 10 spots. Well, you know, the Blazers might come in as the 7th seed. Let me backtrack that. I hope the Blazers do not come in anywhere near the 9 to 15 spots, because that would be very hectic. Hopefully they get an 8 or 7 seed. But I think the Rockets could make a playoff run. I mean, not a playoff run. I think they could definitely make a playoff push. But we're going to have to see. You know, it all depends how some of these teams start and how some of these teams finish during the regular season. But in my opinion, yes, the Rockets are more likely to make the playoffs and the Warriors are to return to the finals just because how deep the West is. You know I missed some teams, but let's go back at it. The Suns, former number 1 seed. Grizzlies, former number 2 seed. The Warriors were a 3rd seed, yes. The Mavericks, who made a conference finals run behind Luka carrying the absolute team. The Nuggets are coming back healthy with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. Minnesota got Rudy Gobert now and Anthony Edwards coming with blood. The Pelicans, healthy Zion. The Clippers, John Wall, Kawhi, and Paul George. That's a sleeper team. They were a 9 seed this season. Kawhi was injured. It was just PG, and PG got injured at some point too. This team is going to come back, and they're going to be a top 5 seed. I'm telling you. The West is looking stacked. So yes, the Rockets are definitely more likely to make the playoffs than the Warriors are to make the finals. It's hard to make the finals. It's easier to make the playoffs than make the finals. Even as good as the Warriors are. So thank you, MGF, for your take. So for our last take of the video, Ice Rick says, people are sleeping on the Blazers this year. Am I saying they are a contender this year? No, but with a healthy Dame who says he's feeling the best he has in years, an emerging Ant, Grant coming in as a 3rd option, and actual defensive tools, Blazers can make some noise this year. So first thoughts to my boy Ice Rick. Man, I love to hear these Blazers take. I love the hope you guys have in the Blazers, and as a Blazers fan, once again I love hearing this. The Blazers are going to be scary this year. And yes, it's true. The Blazers probably aren't a contender. Don't quote me on that. You never know what could happen. The Blazers didn't make that conference finals run. I know not everybody expected it. So don't quote me. But the Blazers could obviously make some noise for sure contender-wise. But yes, I do agree with this take for the most part. Yes, they might not be as a clear contender type of team. But yes, they are going to be a team that makes a lot of noise this season, I believe. And they're going to have a really good regular season, whether they start off slow or start off fast. Dame is finally going to be healthy. He had most of last season off. You got Anthony Simon stepping up, getting that money. He'll be motivated. We have Grant coming back now. It's going to be a great pickup. We have Nurkic coming back. Josh Hart, a great defensive guard as well. He could run forward or guard. Like I said, Jeremy Grant, a guy who can get you 20 points, not the most efficient as we saw in the Pistons, but also a great defender, as we can all have seen, even on the Nuggets. He was a great defender and a solid defender on the Pistons as well. Not as motivated defensively on the Pistons, because the Pistons were going nowhere whether he played defense or not. So this Blazers team is looking real scary. Like I said, we have Gary Payton Jr., who I believe will lead this defense because he's just a defensive trendsetter. You know, we all saw that with the Warriors. Yes, the Warriors have Draymond, they have Wiggins, but Gary Payton was one of the guys who set the trend to play defense on that team, and everybody else helped in following behind him, Draymond, and Wiggins, obviously. But yes, I do agree. This Blazers team will make a lot of noise. You know, no disrespect to all of you guys, but y'all could keep sleeping on the Blazers. If for some reason the Blazers don't start off good, patience. You have time to come back to me and tell me the Blazers weren't good. But I have a lot of trust that the Blazers are going to be great this season. And I love this take. So thank you to Ice Rick for participating in this take. Yes, the Blazers are going to make some noise this year. And I don't even got to go in depth on that. I just know. So I just want to thank you guys, all for tuning in. That wraps up my Hot Takes Episode 1 video. I want to thank everyone who participated in commenting a hot take on my Twitter post, and a thanks to those who made it onto Episode 1. If you didn't make it, there will be plenty more opportunities and episodes to make it onto. Apologies if this video came out a bit long. I really tried to give each of your takes the attention they deserve and a proper explanation on what I think of them. I truly hope you guys enjoyed. This video took days to make, just because of all the different take segments I have to edit, so a like would be awesome. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to subscribe to stay on the radar for all things basketball.